Hey everyone, Anna from Girls on Key, how are you? Today we're talking about how to get your poetry featured at a poetry reading or event. There are lots of events out there. If you want to get your poetry specifically featured, if you want to be a feature poet, how do you do it? So I run a lot of events, so we're going to talk about that, girlsonkey.com. If you want to come along to any of our events, links below. All right, let's go for it. Hey, so today we're talking about how to get your poetry featured at a poetry event. So there are many events and readings around, and lots of feature poets get chosen. They get picked to be the feature poet. They might get to do a 15-minute reading. They might get to have their work presented in front of everyone as opposed to just being on the open mic. How do you get selected? How does someone get selected to be a feature poet at an event? So let's crack into it. I run Girls on Key. We have chapters in Melbourne and Sydney and Newcastle in Australia. We have events all over the place. You can check them out in the link. But one thing that I do is to really link in with the community and find those feature poets. So I'm going to tell you what you can do to get featured. So the first thing that you need to do is quite obvious, but not necessarily everyone will do it, and that is to read at events. Go along to open mics and read on the open mic. There are lots of events out there, particularly Melbourne is awesome for it. Check out Melbourne Spoken Word for any of events there where you can rock up. Some of them have an open mic, some don't. But go along to readings and listen to what other people are reading and who's getting featured and where and what they're reading, because that will give you an idea of some of the poets who are being selected to be featured, and maybe think, why is this person chosen for this event? And you might even like to ask the organisers, well, so how do you pick your features? But if you're not there, if you're not reading, how will you connect with those people? So the first thing is read at poetry events and open mics as much as you can. Number two, put your best foot forward. It's all fine and good to read at events, that's fine, but if you're not presenting your best work possible, someone like myself who's an event organiser is not necessarily going to pick you to be the feature poet. So what you want to do is make sure that you are always learning, always growing, going to workshops, improving your reading technique, thinking about your mic technique, your presentation, anything that recitation-wise would help you to improve the actual reading out loud of your work. Some people, they're very good at writing on the page. When it comes to performing, they don't necessarily have the skill yet in order to be presenting that in the best way. Some people are spoken word artists, and that's their craft, that's what they know about. So chat to those people, go to those kind of events like slams and other spoken word events, and ask other people how they do it, how they present their work in the best way, and think about poets that you like, watch them on YouTube, and figure out how to put your best foot forward and make sure that your work is the absolute best before you present it to anyone, and then you've got more of a chance of someone finding you and someone picking you to be the feature poet. It does take time though, and what I do want to say is that you could be reading on open mics forever and still not get picked, and that's sad and it's hard, but it's a truth, because there are many reasons why someone might pick feature poets. Different events have different types of poets that they select, and that's up to them because it's their event at the end of the day. But maybe if you think about a particular event that you want to feature at, maybe just ask the organiser. Maybe go up to them and say, hey, I really like your event. I've been reading here a lot. I just wondered how you'd go about getting a feature. Do you like my work? And just get to know them, just chat to them. And the more that they know you as a person, that can help sometimes for them to know who you are and what you're about and what your work represents, and whether you're supportive of their event as well, which is quite important. Just personally anyway, not necessarily to all organisers, but to us anyway at Girls on Key. So put your best foot forward and refine your performance. Sorry, I'm looking over to my whiteboard over here. If you're wondering why I keep looking over here, I've just got my points. So number three, refine your performance. So we talked about best foot forward, but refine your performance means really thinking about the elements of performing and reciting a work, which are quite different to how you would refine and edit your work on the page. There's a video I've done on writing for the page below if you're interested in that, but for now we're talking about how to get your poetry featured at an event. So for that, you need to think about your performance, and that means everything. That means, am I just wearing my daggy clothes and expecting that I'm going to make a good impression? Have I really thought about dynamics, like getting louder and quieter? Am I screaming into the mic and putting people off? Because there are some things that actually put me off, as just being honest, as a person who gets to pick features for my events. One of the things that I wouldn't do, if someone was offensive and they're always screaming to the mic, or they're not thinking about, they're not at the level of really thinking about how they perform, so they're whispering, or they're too quiet, or they don't know how to use a mic, that stuff can put me off. Because, I mean, yes, it can be learned, but I don't have time. I have to select a poet every month. I have so many amazing poets. I need to know that that person can at least know how to use a mic, know how to have good vocal technique, and to be able to read a poem in a way that's going to engage the audience. Because if it's not engaging, people will fall asleep, it'll be boring, they won't want to come. And basically I have to get people to come into the event, so I have to advertise it by the fact that there's going to be this amazing feature, whoever that is. And if that person doesn't deliver, if they can't present their work and they don't have enough material, then it's not going to work. So and I'm aware of those things. If I see you read and I think, well, they're not at a level where they're ready to do it, and so that's just, I'm just being honest, and that's just something that it pays to know. I'm just letting you know. That's just from my perspective as an organizer. So other organizers might be different. They might be like, hey, anyone can feature, we don't care, let's do it. But anyway, so point number 4, network and hang out. So I don't like the term networking, but just hang out with poets, go to poetry events, and just on a genuine level, like, don't mix and mingle with the point of trying to get a feature, because sometimes that can seem disingenuous. It can seem like, why are you here? You're just here to get a feature. And it's like, well, have a bit of respect for the other people that are performing when you're there. Don't just rock up, do your thing on the open mic, and then leave and then expect to get a feature, because we're a supportive community. We want to know that poets are supporting one another. If you want an audience for yourself, maybe be a good audience member for others. Just a thought. So that actually brings me to my 5th point, which is support other poets or volunteer. So really deeply connect yourself with the poetry community. If you do that, you might be surprised. You might make friends in high places who can give you a feature, or who have gigs or opportunities or other places that you can read your work. You'll be surprised how many people are out there. It might be a musician. They might say, hey, can you come and read a poem before my event? So the more that you're out there meeting people and getting to know people in the art space or in the poetry space, the more connections and opportunities you're going to have. So those are the 5 top tips for how to get a poetry feature. Just to recap, number 1, read and perform a lot at every open mic, every opportunity that you get. Number 2, put your best foot forward, and so that comes to number 3, which is refine your performance or your actual reading and learn about techniques. Number 4, network and hang out. And number 5, support other poets or even volunteer at an event. If you're there and you're volunteering and you're supportive, then that means that the person organizing knows they can trust you, that you're a supporter of poetry. You're not just there to do it for your own ego. And if you are, that's fine, but it just depends what the organizer wants for their event. And for Girls on Key, if anyone wants to feature at a Girls on Key event in Melbourne, Newcastle or Sydney, I've put a link below to our expression of interest form so that you can fill out. We can have a look to see who you are and what you're about, and whether we can put you on as a feature if a slot comes up. So check that out too. It's a Google Doc, fill it out, and we'll have your information. So that's down below, girlsonkey.com. We're going to have videos. This one was not part of the Editor Speaks, sorry, I said it was, but it's not. It's about how to get your poetry featured at a poetry event, which is a separate video, but we do have a Friday Editor Speaks video as well, so check those out. And don't forget to, if you like it, click the like button. If you want more, click subscribe and share it with your friends. And yeah, let's connect. Anna from Girls on Key, and catch you in the next video. Bye.